Okay.
All right.
Congratulations.
Calling the meeting to order. And then a motion to approve the minutes from April 28th. Okay.
Second that.
And then I guess moving on to new business. Is that great?
Yeah.
Okay, so public hearing for the 2026 annual budget.
You have that in front of you. That's what these two pages are here. You can take a look at that. See if you have questions. Again, this is a public hearing for it, so we're not going to adopt it for 2 weeks.
Okay.
So.
Are there any big changes from last year to this one?
Well, you're gonna see, we're gonna be talking a little bit about capital outlays. You're gonna see that in the general fund, and you're also gonna see it in the rainy day.
Okay.
Capital outlays, in the amount on general, we're looking at $10,000 for improving, other than buildings, maintenance and refurbishment for $10,000, and other capital outlays, machinery, equipment, and vehicles. To the tune of machinery equipment, of course, $20,000. And then in the phone is gonna go up to $1,200 because I didn't allow enough for that. And then, of course, the township trustee, 2% raise, board 2% raise. And then up in rainy day, capital outlays at $2,400. And then we still have the township assistant direct relief, which is $5,000. And then other services and charges is $1,000. So the total for rainy day is $8,400 budget, and then the budget for general is $53,846.
Okay.
And then in township assistance, increase the housing to $3,000, and that total budget is $10,350. And then on fire, we're looking at fire. We were supposed to have been doing this all along, the firefighter stipend. They're supposed to get a certain amount of money for uniforms and for transportation and all that to help them to volunteer. And so we're looking at roughly about $10,000. We got 2 fire departments we got to look at. We got to look at Congress, we got to look at Noble. So they're working on something, and that just gives us a ballpark an idea. We may or may not use it all.
Okay.
There's also a capital outlay as well for them of $20,000. We're looking at possibly fire equipment and things like that. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in the capital improvement plan.
Okay.
And then since we have not raised their contracts, tentatively advertising with your approval, of course, to bump it up to $8,000 a year for Noble and $8,000 a year for Scomverse.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the total unit total for the entire budget is $118,596.
Okay.
And that's for you guys to look at. Next time we meet, you'll be voting on it.
I don't have any more questions on that.
All right. Next on the agenda, public hearing for capital improvement plan for 2026 through 2028.
What the state is requiring everybody to do, all townships, and that's to come up with a capital improvement plan. It was supposed to have been done back in 2019. But it was only for townships that had $200,000 or more. We didn't meet that criteria, so now they're making all townships across the state come up with a capital improvement plan. It has to be in by the end of September. If it's not in by the end of September, next year's local income tax and property tax and everything will not come to the township.
Wow.
So that encourages us, but it also gives us an avenue to utilize some of the funds that we have, and we'll go over that in the capital improvement plan. And then another thing that they're doing, and that's going to be starting in 2027, is that they're going to have, we're talking a little bit more about a road and infrastructure fund. What is going to be going on with that is any monies that are not budgeted and any monies that are not in your capital improvement plan, 30% of that is going to go into the road and infrastructure fund starting in 2027. That's why we had to come up with this plan to end with total cash unrestricted funds by the end of 26. And we got all that in here, and it's all in that packet right there for you guys.
Okay.
And it'll explain all that as far as how that works out. So if you look at your first page there, it talks about what the unrestricted fund summary that's going to be estimated for transfer, and it's between the general fund and the rainy day fund. Those are the only two funds that they will be able to take money out of because they're considered unrestricted. And it's going to be the tune of the total adjustment for 1/1/27 is $3,616, and 30% of that is $1,085, which will go into that road and infrastructure fund. Okay.
Okay.
And we'll get more of that in 27 as far as how that is going to be utilized and things like that. They got to get it approved. Any money coming out of that has to be approved by the board for township road and infrastructure projects that they have. And we got to enter in with the county highway department because they're the one that takes care of this area. And if they have like a project and you guys as voting members will say, yes, we'll go ahead and put X amount of dollars towards that, then they can. We have to come up with a memorandum of understanding of what they're going to do with that money. And we got to approve. They can present projects to us and you guys can say yay or nay. Okay. So that's down the road. I don't want to overwhelm you guys with that.
Yeah.
But that's why.
$1,000 doesn't seem like it'll do too much for
No,
a road project.
No. But I mean, once we look into our rainy day fund and all that,
Yeah.
and it shows you, breaks down there of what we're looking at for rainy day. We're looking at roughly around $2,400 for outlying years beyond 26, because in 26 and you'll see it in the capital improvement plan expense sheet of what we're going to utilize that money for. And then the unrestricted general, and that's the next page, and that shows you what we're going to be tentatively spending over the next 3 years for that.
Okay.
Okay. And then moving on to the capital improvement plan, and that's the third page, fourth page. It's that one right there. Okay. These are just some of the things I reached out to Somerset board. I reached out to both fire departments. I reached out to, I even went and visited Mount Pleasant. The lady that runs it, I don't have a phone number or anything on her. So I visited her house. I said, is there something that Mount Pleasant Cemetery could use? She was saying roads could be, not resurfaced, but, fixed and things like that. So those are some of the things. And you see what we're looking at as far as 2026, we're looking at the fire department, we're looking at about $20,000. They need truck tires in Converse because they're supposed to get new tires every 2 years, and I think they run around $2,400 a set.
Wow. Okay.
And then Noble was saying that they could use radios and pagers. Radios are $7,000 a piece. Yeah. Yeah. So this is just an idea. And again, you guys are gonna take this home, you're gonna look at it, you're gonna say, hey, yeah, we can do this, maybe not, whatever. And if you guys have any other ideas, it'll be fine. And then also looking at rainy day, looking for LED lights for the Somerset Fire Station. They could use some, that'll help the Somerset board minimize their electric bill by about a third. Okay. Because the lights will help. But it's gonna be up to them to decide if that's what they wanna do. And then we're looking at cemetery road repair for infrastructure improvements. And I haven't heard anything more from.
His comment was such a thing, even like, it costs $900 to mow, that's what each time they mow.
It has to be capital, and capital has to
Good enough,
last beyond a year.
Good enough, okay.
Yeah. So that's the reason why.
I'll get back with him on that one.
Yeah. I mean, if he has some equipment that he may
Sure.
need, or else, if he wants to take part of some of this cemetery road.
I'm sure they do.
I'm sure he does that.
Sure.
And then,
No problem.
this is just my
Capital,
idea.
it's all
right?
capital versus.
Yeah, and it has to be,
Yeah.
capital is defined as lasting beyond a year's.
Exactly, yeah.
Life cycle. Okay. And then SRDC needs some work to their bathrooms. We're looking at in 26. In 26, we're also looking at playground equipment. And then in 27, we're looking at fireman gear, and that's pretty expensive. That would be for both fire departments. And then at 27, we're looking at possibly helping with the community building, the pickleball court. And then basketball court resurface, and that's just basically repair, because I don't think we'll be able to resurface, I think, for
Right.
that kind of money.
Right.
And then on in 27, also the cemetery park fence restoration, community park, I'm sorry. And then on 27, we're looking at possibly cemetery equipment for about $2,400 for either Mount Pleasant or Missinula. And then we're in 28, this is your idea, a tornado siren for
Oh.
Somerset.
Was it wasn't my idea?
I thought
was
you
it?
said 2 days.
It was
Oh,
that-
I'm sorry,
Mhm.
TD. And I checked in with Bob Brown at EMA, emergency management.
Mhm.
And he said they put one in about 10 years ago for about $25,000.
Mhm.
So I'm tentatively looking at 3 years from now, maybe about $35,000 to get it out together.
And that was my question. How far outreach do those have?
I don't know.
That's what,
But they got one in Wabash, and the thing is, I mean, it'd be nice to have it out here, because he says that there is an app on your phone
I
that
was gonna
warns
say,
you.
yeah.
Okay? But
And they
some older people don't have
Mhm.
those.
Right.
Yeah.
And some people, they may like the fact that there's a siren
Mhm.
going off.
And we're gonna put it
And
by
it's
their
all,
house.
that's all, what's that?
Or put it by their house.
Yeah, tentatively, I don't know where we're
Mhm.
thinking about putting it up, but I'm tentatively looking at maybe, I don't know if the community building would be willing to put it up on top of their roof, or the fire station would be willing to put it up on top of it.
Okay.
Fire would be more appropriate, I think,
Mhm.
considering it's,
but I didn't know how far outreach the sound would
Right.
actually
Mhm.
travel.
I bet it travels
Whether
a
it's
distance,
10 miles?
Yeah.
I would think it would have a,
couple miles.
but as far as our township, this is the most heavily populated area.
absolutely is.
So I'm sure you'd hear it at your place.
Yeah, where my son lives now, over where you think it would over where I live?
I would think you would.
It might.
It's gonna be loud. I don't know.
I would like it to.
Yeah,
I mean, that was my thought.
yeah.
Down at the reservoir. I mean, you got lots of people down
That's a
there
great
at
idea.
Red Ridge.
Yeah.
I mean, you get a
about
lot
that.
of people down there if the storm.
And I don't know what the phone reception is over there.
It's not great.
Not
So
great down
that-
there. But if you got
Could be
something
very
going
good.
through and you got,
Great idea, Lee.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing is like,
And it'd be close enough for them to hear it down at the beach,
Mhm.
because it'd be right here.
you would think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would think the water would probably help echo.
I would think it would bounce. I don't know. It was just kind of a dumb
Yeah.
thought maybe, but,
But I did check it out with Bob Brown. He said they put one in for about 25 grand.
and that was
That's why I
why,
put in
that was
35.
all basically put that one.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's why I put in 35.
Mhm.
And then,
That would be probably
and
wise.
then also in 28, we're looking at air tanks for fire departments. And then community building restoration in 28, 5,000. Again, this is just
Mhm.
ideas.
Yeah.
If you guys want to add to it, we can.
Mhm.
I like it. I think it's a
Mhm.
good start.
Yeah.
And then you can also see the CIP revenue, okay, that takes us out, how much funds we're gonna attribute to the CIP. That comes out of our property taxes, that comes out of our LIT, our CVET, FIT, and the other expenses, other revenues for rainy day. That's gonna be like the excess, so we can put 10% in, like we did this year, into that, so we can have some money into that too.
Mhm.
So that's basically that in a nutshell. But yes, we had to approve it. This is the public hearing for that. I had to publish it, and I published it in the paper last week. I had to give them a 48-hour window.
Mhm.
So it's published in the paper that we're having it tonight. And they're gonna have access to it here because it's all live.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But that just gives you an idea of what that looks like.
Great.
And that's all for you guys to analyze, and if you guys want to throw something in there, and we're gonna have the adoption meeting in 2 weeks, because we're gonna adopt this. And we got a form for that too.
Mhm.
So, just things for you to think about.
Yeah.
Are we ready, let's see, to cover road and infrastructure
And
fund?
what that is basically, it's gonna be starting in 2027, that there's gonna be a fund, and like I said a little earlier, that we have to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the individual department that's gonna be servicing our area, right? We're not a city, so it's
Mhm.
county takes care of these roads, so if they wanna do pothole or something like that, they bring that project to the board, and the board says yay or nay,
Mhm.
and we just, and that'd be automatically put into another fund, so we'll have another fund on budget every year.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's mandated. That came out of the big bill that just passed,
Mm-hmm.
amongst other things. So any questions on any of that?
No?
Probably later.
Yeah. Ton of
Oh,
questions
yeah.
later, yeah. Yeah.
Great. Make a motion to adjourn.
Now I will make that motion.
Okay. And then I'll second.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, ending the stream. And